Hi, everyone, and welcome to This Podcast is in Beta. I'm your host, Erezebeta, and we're here to deep dive into the minds of the content creators that you love. Here today, we have the talented Twitch broadcaster and front woman of Elsie Binx, EBX Erin. So let's jump right into it. All right, so hi, welcome.
Hi. Thank you for
So,
having me.
yes, of course. Erin, you are the first person on This Podcast is in Beta, so thank you so much for being here.
I am so honored to be the guinea pig.
I chose you specifically because of that. You're the person who will sit here for 45 minutes before we even get started and be totally content.
Yeah.
So, all right, can you start telling the viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do on Twitch?
Sure. So I started on Twitch in March of 2020. I knew what Twitch was. I followed a handful of people, but I was generally a lurker for the most part. And when the pandemic hit, and I still am in a band, but when the pandemic hit, I was in a touring band, touring full time almost every single weekend, and we were grounded by the pandemic, obviously. And we started just streaming. We just went in it. We just did it. We just like there's no other way to describe what happened. We went in it, just McBalls to the walls, if you will, and that began this journey. And we started streaming as a band together, all six of us, at our studio, and that was kind of the first step. We didn't know what biddies were. We didn't know what subs were. We didn't know what anything was. I had only watched a couple of gamers. And as somebody who had only watched casually, I don't really think you pick up on much. And this was years ago, too. So we made an account for Elsie Binx and we did some shows at the studio. We did like 3 or 4. And then the part of the pandemic hit where we didn't see anybody for any amount of time. So we stopped going to the studio. And that's when the journey of all of us individually streaming on one channel started. And having a shared channel is a whole experience in and of itself, but that was my first Twitch experience, was having a shared channel, and it was stressful, but we all played music separately. We were music streamers. We did some game streams. We also did some chat streams. And we also had production streams. And so every night of the week, we would stream. Somebody different would log into the account and stream from the Elsie Binx channel. And we did that for almost a year. We stopped doing that in January of this year. Uh, we went on general hiatus from that channel in February of 2021, pardon me. So yeah, so we started utilizing our individual channels, and I started doing game and music streaming in April of 2020. So my 1 year Twitchiversary is April 25th
Oh,
coming up.
wow.
So it's been less than a year for me. I did do quite a lot of streaming on the Elsie Binx channel before I took mine off, because I had put all of my resources. You guys know, like, and by you guys I mean Beta. I'm so used to talking to a chat, right? People know as a streamer, you have all of your settings, you have emotes, you have commands, you have timers, you have all of the things in a channel. I built all that for the Elsie Binx channel. So I put it off for quite a while building it on my own. And I regret that now, but it is what it is. I'm glad I am where I am now. So yeah, flash forward to now, about what, 10 months later, 11 months later, it and I have built up my own community further in 1 year than I could ever have imagined. And unfortunately, I had to let game streams go for now because my music streams are doing pretty great. And I'm very, very happy with where they're going. And now I have a looper and equipment that I never realized I needed, and all sorts of things. So my identity has come a long way in a year. I will say that, but that's the TLDR on streaming for me. That is the journey.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the Elsie Binx channel first, and then kind of get a
Yeah.
little bit into the gaming versus music that you were doing for a long time. With the Elsie Binx channel, I thought it was really cool where you could like log in and each week it would be someone different working on a different component of a song, and you guys were really still able to create music together as a
Mhm.
band. long distance, during a pandemic. Now
Yeah, we have written an entire record almost just during the pandemic.
oh, wow, I didn't even pick up on that much.
Yeah, we have 12, and by writing a record, it means more or less you have a song idea, somebody had a song idea in the band. I probably wrote lyrics and a melody to it, or Jen had an idea, Johnny, Phil. We all even and Darren, who is one of our newest members, and he's been in the band now for 2, 3 years now, so newest member. He's also written some songs along the way too. So that's literally what we did on the channel was production on Mondays, sometimes production on Tuesdays, and then I'd record vocals on a Wednesday or whatever. But all of that happened during the pandemic. We only had 3 of those songs even a little bit worked on prior to the pandemic.
Now, is the plan or the goal to completely produce this album out the way that you're doing it right now, over the internet essentially?
That's not the plan, but also it just happened, right?
Yeah.
Like our motto, you're going to laugh. Our motto as a band is can't stop, won't stop. And also one of our mottos is nothing is fucked because a couple of our members are obsessed with the Big Lebowski. It's a dude thing. It's the character the dude.
Oh, yeah. No, we're good.
Nothing is fucked. Yeah, for anybody who didn't know, I don't know. But yeah, nothing is fucked, and we always say that, and also we can't stop, won't stop. Just fucking go, right? And so when the pandemic hit, we never even like paused. We never hit pause for a second. The last year has been some of the busiest I've ever been mentally and musically, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard for a lot of people to believe. Because most people stopped everything where we did stop everything physically, but literally, like, when it comes to mentally writing and internet writing, it never stopped. We never stopped. And when we could get back together, we did some band streams. And we haven't now seen each other since November again. And like, to answer your question, it wasn't the plan. It but it is right now. If we finish it before we see each other again, cool. And if we don't, then yay, we get to finish it together. But, it just, if we're done by May, I heard that like all vaccinations are supposed to be out by the end of May.
Oh,
If
wow.
that happens, then yeah, I've heard that through the grapevine on a couple news sources. That's what Biden's goal is right now, is that everybody vaccinated by the end of May. If that's true, then we will finish this record together at the studio, listening to mixes all in one room, listening from the same speakers.
Yeah.
And but that hasn't happened in so long. That literally hasn't happened in a year. And that's very strange. So there, unfortunately, there isn't an answer to that question because no, it wasn't the plan to do it entirely digitally.
No, but at the
But
same time, I mean, there's been a lot of media successes. You've had movies, Host, which was a horror movie that was entirely produced over webcam, I think Skype or Zoom call or something like that,
mhm,
which was very successful.
yeah.
You've had other big studios that have tried to produce smaller independent films, and they've just made it that people are like quarantining together and so forth. So there
Mhm,
has been a lot of art created in the past year, and really it kind of has been the year for content creators as a
mhm,
whole.
yeah.
Since everyone is kind of versatile in the fact that they can work from home already, they were prepared for this. Essentially, we're all
Yeah.
prepared to be shut-ins.
Yeah. And unfortunately, not everybody in my band were able to quarantine the way I have been able to. Half of our members are essential workers.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest reason we weren't getting together. If all of us could have quarantined the way Trish and I quarantine, that would have been a different story. We could have continued to keep getting together, but the problem was we have medical care workers, we have construction workers, we have uh, um, factory workers. So
Yeah.
it just wasn't ever going to be where we could all quarantine and have that bubble safely. I would have loved to make that happen, but it just wasn't a reality for us, unfortunately.
Now, I know that you can't necessarily speak for anyone else, but do you feel like everyone is enjoying from your band? Is everyone enjoying the experience of moving to a more digital, being on Twitch, doing their own streams? Do you feel like everyone's really embraced that?
There's 2 parts to this question, and the first answer is no, I don't think everybody likes it, but the second answer is yes, I think everybody's embraced it. Because those are 2 different
No,
answers, right?
that's very true.
Like, they didn't like it. Some of them still don't like it. Kevin, my co-founder, who we founded this band together, he is the producer, manager, engineer, main engineer. He still doesn't like it. He hates it, but he also streams. He just got affiliate. Like,
Oh.
and he was not streaming on his personal channel until last month. He got affiliate in less than 3 weeks. He loves it. Like, but he hated it. Don't get me, he's a people person. He needs to be around people all the time. And I
Oh, and
wouldn't
when
say
you
he's
first start
extroverted,
streaming,
but
that's really hard to, like, have
yeah.
that kinda energy around you. It's a lot of times talking to yourself in the very beginning.
Yeah. And he has come so far. He is the best example of this because everybody else was kind of mixed about it. Me and Jen and Johnny have always been like all in. Jen and Johnny both also now have loopers. Like, we've all gone in and streaming is not going to go away for us anytime soon. With Kevin, I don't think it's going to go away, but he didn't um functionally understand it, and I don't know if it's generational. I would say that it could be, but also at the same time it's like, I don't know. It's it could be technology. It's just there's so many reasons, but he loves music production at his core. He is a producer at his core, and the fact that people will just sit in his chat and talk to him while he's doing this, as somebody who loves to be around people when nobody else is in the studio except for maybe Phil or a couple other producers down the hall, like, that's just, it's huge for him, and I don't think he realized that that was filling that void until, like, he was like, "Oh, I could do this all day every day." Like like, "Why do you think I'm doing it, bro?" Like,
And I mean, it kinda makes
I
sense,
don't
like,
think he
out of
got it at
everyone
first.
in the band, it does make sense that the producer, the person who's typically not on stage would be the one
Yeah.
that'd be like, "Oh, yeah, camera in my face, I have to engage with people," or sometimes engage with no one being there because it's, a new channel and things like that. That makes sense. And
Yeah.
also, yeah, generation word. That word that hopefully everyone understands what I'm getting at.
Generational.
See, there we go. Although I think
There it is.
there we go. I'm not even gonna try. Speaking, yeah, it's different. Like I know as a millennial on the platform,
Yeah.
we're kind of considered a little bit of a commodity. That it is mostly run by, Gen Zers and so forth, or people that are in uh our generation, but at the same time they started when it was still Justin TV. Like they've been on there for so long that they grew up on it
Yeah.
and built that following when it was first happening.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. But okay, so you were talking a little bit about how the gaming side had to die down. And so that you could really focus on your music because your music was what was growing you on Twitch. But let me ask you this, if gaming, because I, like myself, were a Dead by Daylight streamer. Um, let's say you were really growing with that. Do you think you would have done the same thing where you minimalize the music streams and then continue to grow the gaming content?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that to you. Yes, I think that, and that's the hard part, is that I actually really enjoy game streaming. I'm not a great gamer. I'm not a gamer. I literally never played games. I bought an Alienware because I decided to be a streamer, and as a streamer, you got to have a good computer to stream anything at all. Um a very decent computer anyway. So I went kind of balls to the walls, and again, McBalls to the walls, and financed an Alienware because I was like, well, if I'm gonna buy a good computer, I'm not gonna go small. I don't want to buy another computer for quite some time. So I went big,
yeah.
and I bought a gaming computer because that's the best computer you can buy, frankly. Even if you're not a gamer. And then oops, I bought a gaming computer and now I like games. That's honestly what happened. And so I was like, well, if I can build my channel, and that's honestly, I was like, I don't want to sing more than 2 days a week. That was my literal situation. I was like, we're recording an album. I gotta let my voice rest. I don't want to overwork my voice. It's a very huge problem for singers. And so I was like, well, I need more than 2 days a week to hit affiliate. It was just plain simple math.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I like these horror games. I did polls in my communities, like on Facebook and Insta, like, what would you watch me play? Would you watch me play this Slender Man game? That was the first thing I ever did. And I had about 10 people I knew coming to these streams, which I don't take for granted. I know that that's not normal, right? People don't just jump in your streams, but I have like almost 10K likes on my band page, and that's where I was pushing it out too. So it's, just kind of like I already have this persona. I have a fan group on Facebook. We have the likes on Facebook and Insta, and using that separate platform to be like, hey guys, I want to play some games. Come watch me while I rest my voice. It was kind of the perfect way to build my channel. And Trish and I had always known, and it was weighing really heavily on me because it's like, well, if your average is, say, 20 for your music streams and 10 to 15 people are sticking around in your game streams, it's not a problem. But then as soon as it shifted and I started seeing 30 to 40 people staying in my music streams and about 15 people staying in my game streams, it was like this is hurting me. It would be silly of me to stop my own growth. And we talked about this off camera a month ago. I don't know when that could have been 3 months ago. What is time?
Yeah, that's a
But
good point.
but, but we talked about this
Yeah.
literally a couple months ago and it wasn't affecting my average. Period. I was looking at it very very logically. It wasn't affecting my average. And then kind of over the course of a couple weeks, I saw it happen. I got a couple big raids. I got a Raquel raid. Stock Jock has raided me countless times. He
I'm not
loves
gonna
me.
lie, I went to his stream because I was like, "Oh, I wanna support people." I'm like, "Let me support this music stockbroker. What is
Yeah,
happening?" I'm like, I go to his
yeah,
channel and
dude,
I'm like, "This has nothing to do with music, but right on, dude. Like, can you give me some Bitcoin suggestions? You know,
for
how's my
real.
Doge doing?"
And so I he is somebody. There aren't that many day traders on Twitch like there
No,
are.
that's and he's very smart for doing that, I'm not gonna lie. That is
Yes, and he is.
ingenious.
Mhm. And I've watched a couple. I like his Q&As because that's where I can learn stuff. I can't sit there and watch him daily from 9 to 5 p.m. He knows that. I've told him this on my streams. I get more out of him sitting down and doing Q&As. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. So when he goes on and does a Q&A, I'll go watch, but like he literally makes a point to go find music streamers to dump 1,000 people on at the end of his stream. Sometimes it's 1,000, but it's some, you know what I mean?
Oh, no, I've seen the raids that he drops. I gotta whip out the kalimba, man. I'm missing out on things.
Do it. But, and that's the thing is there were a handful of raids that have happened in the last month that were really, really important. Those are the 2 that I'm coming up with at the moment, and I can't think of the other ones at this moment. But, I've gotten raided a couple times by J Muse, and there's been a handful of things that have been hugely life changing? I mean, career changing
Yeah.
regarding Twitch. And simply life changing, and that was the difference is that I get these big old raids while I'm doing music, and then nobody comes for the game ones, and sadly, it's like I have to face the truth, and that's if I want to grow, I can't sit here wasting time playing games as much as I actually love doing it, and one day when it doesn't matter anymore, AKA I have the purple check mark, guess what I'm gonna go back to doing?
Well,
I
and
will absolutely go back to being half music and half games because I honestly love it. It's a lot of fun for me.
yeah, and I remember when we were talking about this. I remember this conversation that we had. You know, we
Mhm.
were discussing because I was like, "Why are you still doing
Yeah.
games?" And like you said at the time, it wasn't affecting your average, but I could see because I was showing up to all your streams, just
Yeah.
the difference. And you know, as a Dead by Daylight streamer who's kind of suffering the same thing, like I've
Yeah.
been doing this for 2 years. You know, my average is now the highest it's been, but I'm still only getting between that like 15 and 20 viewers. And it's
Yeah.
because even though I started it 2 years ago, I wasn't prepared to really grow 2 years ago. And
Mhm.
Dead by Daylight's become so saturated. And not just
Yeah.
that game, it's gaming in general. So
Yeah.
many people want to get on Twitch. They want to be a gaming content creator. And the problem is that at this point, you either have to be exceptional at the game or an exceptional entertainer.
Yeah.
And really, what I find fascinating about Twitch and what's growing, and what I've learned even from watching you, is it's the other communities that I think really have the potential to become something. And in a sense, it's kind of good that they haven't been, because I go to your stream. Well, to a degree, it's true. Like, you go into some of these, game streams, and, you got the most toxic, or whatever you want to call it, chats happening, or even sometimes the gamers or streamers themselves aren't
Yeah.
particularly nice or someone that you want to watch pleasantly. You mostly want to watch going, yeah, get them killed, that kind of thing.
Right.
But in the music community, it's different. It's much calmer. It's much more like, I love it when you're singing songs, and I see this in now a variety of music streamers where it's like more of just like emote chat. Like, I'm just gonna send some emotes. Like, I'm jamming. I'm sending like all my good vibes. You
Mhm.
guys, there's never any concern or contention of like, oh, if I drop this rate, I'm gonna lose these viewers or something like that. There's not a lot of competitiveness because you are an individual artist, whereas in the gaming community, you are competing against everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that's that's really, really relevant, and unfortunately and I have a question for you. Did you start to feel like the gaming just general gamers, gamer tags, gamer categories were oversaturated by the pandemic? Was that a specific symptom from the pandemic?
You know, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
what I
I
was just
can't
wondering.
I can't lie. It's yeah, everyone, I mean, I'm looking right now to upgrading my PC. Parts are so expensive. Most pre-built sites are sold out, out of stock of them. People but it makes sense, and and oh my god, seeing the amount of people partnered last year, because here's the thing, it's now grown to, I think it's like there's 6 million streamers on Twitch.
I don't even know.
I think it's 6 million,
That's crazy.
but I don't
I didn't
remember the exact numbers for viewership, but it has to be triple of that, because
Yeah.
everybody at the end of the day, even if you're not having to be quarantined at home, things don't look the same. You're not able to go out. Even if you're able to go out on a Saturday, I think most places are doing like a curfew. Like bars have
Yeah.
to close like at 10:30 instead of 2:30.
Yeah.
Um, think
I think it's 9 or 10 o'clock here, yeah.
yeah, and dating during COVID is, but like, so you you end up having to socialize, and the best way to do it is through websites like Twitch. Honestly, that's part of the reason why I know people always say like YouTube gaming could eventually be where it's at. And I could see that based on the algorithm. The fact that they have an algorithm is just sets it way above what Twitch is capable of when it comes to discoverability. Cause that's what we're all struggling with on Twitch is
Yeah.
just see my channel.
Yeah.
but
For
but
real.
but yeah, like I feel that when the pandemic hit, we did end up getting a huge amount of broadcasters that I hate to say it, and this kind of this might sound bad, but when you've been doing this for 2 years, sometimes you get a little bitter at certain things, and the only thing that gets me bitter is, like, when and I will tell my friends this, because they're so excited, they wanna talk about how they just started streaming, and they're, like, so wide-eyed, and they're like, "Yes,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Come to me in 2 years."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's different, and so but I mean, and that's why a lot of them are getting partnered, because you're seeing people that haven't been putting in years and years and years, and they ended up doing all the tutorials. They ended up watching all the YouTube videos on how to set up their thing and grow their channel and focused on the right things. And maybe they just had the personality that really shined.
Yeah. And even like uh piggybacking off of that, I I don't know how to not be resentful when I see somebody not doing it wrong, but like not doing it right, but also getting all the attention and growing so much faster than I am. Like, I know it sounds so petty. This is, like, so incredibly Capricorn of me, and, like, I just unapologetically, but it's hard to watch, and that's as somebody who's literally been doing this less than a fucking year. So I can't imagine how you feel about it because I worry about people being resentful of me for my growth. Meanwhile, I'm like, this person started 3 months later after me, and they're already fucking partner. Like, the fuck? Like,
It's
the resentment is so fucking real, but at the same time, then I put myself in my place and I'm like, "Stop. You literally just started this fucking journey. Meanwhile, there are people who've been streaming for 6 fucking years who aren't a partner.
yeah.
Calm down." You know
And
what I mean?
it's tough though. And oh my god, it's a rabbit hole that like
Yeah.
everyone
I have to
says
dig myself
don't
out of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone says don't compare yourself to others.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. It's like it's near impossible. You can't help it. It's to I mean, even with I think you posted a TikTok of your e-girl makeup and I saw how many views you
Yeah.
had and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I know, and, but I didn't expect that also,
But that's the
but
other
still.
thing. Like, you know, but this is a perfect example. I've looked at,
Mhm.
I know that you're less than a year. I'm 2 years in, and I've seen some of your numbers and I go, God dang it. Like,
I get it.
but at the end of the day, I also know there's something I need to do differently. There's something that my audience who is watching me or where I'm at as far as like my category or anything like that. Like at the end of the day, we are why we aren't growing.
Yeah.
Um
Mhm.
and that's a hard thing. And then like the other thing is like, yeah, you made a TikTok on your e-girl makeup. I make TikToks on food. You do music streams. I do gaming streams. Like, where in the crazy part of my brain? Like, why am I? And this is why you can't compare yourself to other people. There's just each of us have our own. I mean, that's part of the beauty of content creation is it's individualized
Yeah.
and people are really there for you, not you know if someone wants to listen to the radio, if someone wants to listen to Elsie Binx's music, if someone wants to listen to the actual Lady Gaga songs by Lady Gaga, they can do that. They're there because they want
Right.
to be with you. And
Yeah.
that's a difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. You could pretty much play any game and I'm going to be like, "Oh, beta's on. Cool." I'm either going to be sitting there actively involved or I'm going to at least be lurking like listening to what you're saying because you're funny as fuck and that's why you're there. Like that's just you're absolutely right. It's the person. Um and it's even moving so I come from a totally different industry and I'm constantly being compared to metal girls. And I don't know if you know or can picture any of the other metal female front people. That was a lot, but you get it. Uh, they're not what I look like. They are, I just there's a really painted stereotype picture of what a female front person of a metal band is. I'm none of those things, and I constantly get compared to them, and it makes me feel like shit, frankly. Like, and so Twitch is like that, but on the internet instead of in real life. Like it's really crazy to number 1 compare yourself in whatever industry. It could be Twitch, it could be real life, whatever. And then also deal with the fact that people are literally comparing you as well. But
Yeah.
at least on Twitch I've noticed that it's the comparison between other people isn't quite so bad. I will say that. That has been a little bit of a relief just knowing that I'm not constantly being compared to other female streamers because in real life female fronted bands don't exist nearly as often as a female streamer. Like that's there's fuck tons of female streamers, but in real life female fronted bands that's it's very rare. So that's been a good thing for I don't know how I got here to be completely honest and I apologize
No,
for
actually,
digressing.
no, but here's the
But
thing though. I want to go into this conversation because the comparison thing, I think it's funny. Like I have my whole list right here, but I'm like, oh wait, no, but I like this. This is
this is
interesting.
how podcasts go.
This is we're getting to the nitty gritty, but also I want
Yeah.
to take a moment to share from our sponsor, i.e. I don't have a sponsor. I got to go pee though. So I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to start it up again in a second. I tried.
That
I
was
tried.
really
I went
awesome.
twice before. Give me a break. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome back from the little ghouls room. Okay. So we were talking about comparisons
Yes.
and so on and so forth. Yeah, I guess It's interesting that you bring that up because the realm of female content creators, there is this stereotype that has kind of been put upon us
Yeah,
in the
I see
gaming
that.
industry. But I feel
Mhm.
like with I watch these TikToks where it's like, put a finger down if, a dude's ever asked if you're single, or put a finger down if, like, all those types of things. But I feel like, because I'm in your stream a lot, I feel like you and I don't deal with that as much.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen, but you're right. It's not that bad. It's more for me, those experiences all happen way more in real life.
Yeah.
Um that's an IRL thing 100%. Being asked if I'm single or if I'd go out on a date um at a wedding or a, a rock show is probably 10 out of 10 going to happen every time. Every gig.
Yeah, I would
But yeah,
say,
not so much in streaming.
yeah, I would tell female streamers that are starting out,
Mm,
nip it in the bud. Like,
yeah.
just either have a really funny way of making sure they understand that they are turned down, or if they get inappropriate, just block them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say a lot of the time for me, it's, and this just happened, I think, like last week. Somebody said, "Are you dating women?"
Oh, I was there for that. I said cats. I was like,
You did.
I
You replied and
replied,
said, "No, she's dating cats."
and I'm like, nope, cats.
I didn't even, what's the best part is I don't remember if I was talking or playing, but I let it sit in the chat for a second, didn't say anything. Trish also didn't say anything, and I'm like, maybe I'll let it go. Just let the fucking person go." And then you responded to that, and I couldn't
Sorry.
not laugh, and that's when I decided to acknowledge it. But I actually consider just not even acknowledging it, but also I have the luxury of I may have had 30 people in my chat at that point, so it kind of just scrolled away. That's not everybody's experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just fucking sits there,
Or they ask
you
it more
know?
than once.
Yeah, that's
That's
annoying too. It's just you have to be, and this is something another friend I've made on Twitch uh was not concerned, but wanted to check in on me last year when I first started seeing that kind of stuff in my chat. And it was like, hey, you can be assertive with people, right? Like,
yeah.
just checking because some female streamers don't know that. And I'm like, bitch, I come from the rock industry. Are you kidding? Like, I'm used to turning people down face to face, not even in a chat. Like, like I am an anomaly, I think, but I would agree with you. Like streamers, you have to be assertive, but it does you a no words. You're doing yourself a disservice to be like, "LOL, I'm single," but like, you know,
Yeah.
trying to be cute about it. Be as real as you want to be about it. Like,
I even I
period.
get awkward when people ask if I'm
Well,
single,
yeah,
or if they ask if I'm, well, or also I get asked pretty often if I date women. Twitch, I'm
yeah,
like, I guess that side of me vibes out on Twitch. But like, and I get super awkward because, like, to a certain degree, especially when they're asking, like, do you date women? I feel like, okay, this is an opportunity where I guess like, I want people to feel I want it to feel, inclusive. I want to feel
yeah.
like I can talk about, my sexuality and my journey and things like that. At the same time, I don't talk about myself like that much, and I just get super awkward. It's like if someone says I look cute in chat, I just like turn into a turtle real quick. I'm like, uh,
Like,
thanks.
I've seen it happen.
I
I've 100% seen it happen.
like, I like it when people compliment my cosplay. It's like, "Oh, that looks awesome. Thank you. That's cool. You look cute."
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't know what to do with this.
Me, I think I did it to you one day. I'm like, "Bitch, your makeup is snatched," and you're like, "Thanks." I'm like,
I'm just the
it's okay." Like,
I'm just the worst because I don't know. There's a part of me that, like, I'm streaming on Twitch. I know my camera's on, but I'm like, "You can't see me. You can't see me, bitches. I'm just rolling."
yeah. And I can't relate in any way to that because I've spent the last decade on stage. Like,
Oh, and it shows. I mean, you always come off very professional. Like, I remember I walked into your stream and I found out how long you've been streaming. I was like, "This bitch got it figured out. I don't know how to do all that. Oh, she got an emote wall. What the hell is that? I gotta Google this."
and that's all it was. It was I saw somebody with an emote wall. That's a really good example. Same with Capamon, same with anything you see in my stream. I saw somewhere else and went, "Oh, I want that. I want
Yeah,
that."
yeah. I
Like,
mean, that is one of the biggest advices that you can get is if you wanna be a content creator, you need to watch other content creators that you want to be like.
oh yeah, that's it. That's the biggest piece of advice that I could ever give is, and I've done that for a couple people who have watched me even just, and I'm like, y'all know I'm a beginner, but I did my fucking homework.
Yeah.
And do your homework.
Yeah, it's
Watch
work.
people.
It's not just turning on a camera. It's not just turning on the game or just, loading up. It is spending hours adjusting your camera to make it look the best quality that it can. It's adjusting
Mhm.
your sound. It's investing money. Um,
Tons.
People have no idea the amount of actual
No.
work. I work more hours. I don't work more hours now than I did at the animal shelter because that was a crazy job. But I definitely work more hours now than I did when I was working at Sephora as an education trainer. And it, it, and I'm not paid for them. Like
Yeah.
I only get paid quote unquote when for me I'm streaming and people want to
Mhm.
donate or they want to sub or they want to cheer. So essentially 9 hours of the week I might make money and the other 40 hours of the week,
Mhm.
50 hours of the week, I'm just hoping it pays off to make the most out of those 9 hours.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's
um
pretty much the whole thing of it. Like, just know that it's work. It's not easy. But at least I do find, getting back to the comparison thing, I do find I'm not terribly compared to anybody, which is nice for the first time ever.
Yeah, you stand out on in the because I have so gone into the Twitch music scene.
Yeah.
Um SP Loves Drums, I've been
Yes. I
really enjoying. I
Yeah.
drop into his stream all the time. I go Kalimba when. Um I'm gonna make sure that he gets Kalimba at some point. He's got to get a
That's
Kalimba.
great.
Claire Picks, oh my god, she's my goals. I only need like 20 years vocal experience, learn 6 different instruments, and get a better camera for my cats, like,
It's fine.
one day, though.
Yeah.
One day.
Goals. It's fine. Have goals.
Um,
It's fine.
but, she, yeah, but you just like with those 2, that is kind of interesting, is, like, when you think about gaming streamers, the most that we can kind of vary up is how we position our webcam in the game or
Yeah.
what we allow our viewers to do to engage with us while we're in the game or our commentary. That's the most variance we can come up with. But music streamers, you can see different backdrops. The ideas that you've come up with, like where someone can request a song, so, time after time can come up, but you have to sing it like Britney Spears.
Right. Or sing it without time.
Oh my God, that was the greatest thing I ever did. I don't know why. Like when I saw that you had an IRL word band, I was like, hold up.
It's been there the whole time, just
I
nobody caught
I
on to
don't
it.
read. I don't look into
What
things.
the best part about channel points is that they're not meant for music streamers. So, when you make them for music streamers, it becomes even more amazing fuckery,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like, they're not meant for music streamers. The Zoom cam, I'm gonna play a song this close to your face. It's not meant for me, but I've appropriated it just a
Oh,
tiny
but it's
bit, and it
perfect.
becomes ridiculous and perfect. And that's I think people need to think outside the box, and and me having scare alerts during a music stream is fucking hysterical. Is it normal? No. but but I want to be a gamer so bad, and I don't know. It's just I have an identity crisis on Twitch, and I wish I could be a gamer all the time, but it's just not how I'm going to grow. It wouldn't be the smart way
But you know
for me to
what
try to
I
be a
find
streamer.
interesting is I don't think all of your viewers. See, this actually might be where you're really going to stand apart is I don't feel like all of your viewers were originally in the music category. Because you're
No.
kind of taking those components of what people traditionally see in the gaming streams and so forth, the engagement tools that people use there, and you're applying it to live learning and live playing all these songs, it really does kind of marry the 2 quite well.
And that's such a hard line to walk, especially like my spin wheel, right? Like that you either cheer or dono $5 and you get to spin the wheel and your song is whatever genre the wheel comes up with. It's a game. Like
Oh, I
it's
didn't know that.
stupid. Yeah, yeah, like, I don't always put it out there. It's always there, but, like, some days I'm like, "I wanna put spin in my title." Like, it just depends on the type of mood I'm in, frankly.
Yeah.
But my regulars know it's there. So if they cheer 500 and put something in the queue, they'll be like, "I wanna spin." I'm like, "Oh, cool." Like, and it's something people know that I do. And it, for lack of a better word, gamifies a song for
Yeah.
them, you know? A $5 quick game, like it's a gamble on something, and they can spin as many times as they want if they don't like what's coming up on the wheel. And that's something I took from the slow drag. He started doing that and I was like, "Wow, that's fucking brilliant." Like, and so it's and he's a gamer, or not a gamer, sorry, he's a music streamer only. So I think that it can go a lot of different directions. And then some people don't have any gimmicks at all. They're just here to play music and that's okay too. Like, but
Yeah.
I get bored. I want to be a gamer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that comes in for me.
Yeah, I think
But
that and ultimately to do this long term, you do
yeah.
have to find the things that really work for you, that both
Yeah.
are successful, but at the same time, keep your mind engaged. Because doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again isn't always fun, and none of us are doing day jobs for a reason. That's not what we were looking for.
Right. And something I know we were going to touch on is how do you reinvent the wheel but also go back to regular life at some point, which is going to happen
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, how do you see yourself handling Twitch if especially let's say you're partnered by the time things start to open up or you're getting close to being partnered and then you have to keep up those metrics to get there. How do you see yourself doing that and going on tour?
All the things. So a part of that, a part of the answer is easy, and that's our tours. We've never done a professional tour. We have not gotten there yet because it costs thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to buy onto a professional tour where you go away for like 2 months. So we haven't done that because we don't have the money to do that as a band or as people, frankly. But so when we go on tour, we have an RV, we might leave for a week, but like people have real jobs. Like Jen's a healthcare worker.
Yeah.
She can't just take off for 2 weeks of time. So the longest we can ever take away from real life is as long as any one of our members can take at a time. Does that make sense? Like if somebody can get a week off and everybody else can get a week off too, then that's how long we go. So that's kind of a vacation mode situation. Um and what we used to do a lot is take, a Friday off so we could leave Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Hmm.
And then everybody who's got to be back to work on Monday can go back to work, but as long as everybody can get Friday off, we're
Yeah.
good kind of thing.
Oh, that's
So
not a bad
like
idea.
yeah, so it's like people think that touring is so glamorous, and hey, you know what? It is if you got money. But we're Elsie Binx and we don't have money yet. And it's not glamorous and we don't get to go away for months at a time. So that part of it's kind of moot once you understand the literal time away part.
Yeah.
So like basically, even if say heaven forbid lofty goals came up in my tarot today. Heaven forbid lofty goal I'm partner by the end of May and we're all vaccinated and oh shit, we're going to start gigging again. Honestly, I don't see it as being a problem. I would just shuffle my days around a little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm a partner, that's the best case scenario because now I can do maybe music on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and play a game another day of the week. And now I
Or
have rehearsal Thursdays and we might be out of town Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's at the same time, you still got to know your limits as a vocalist.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the part I gotta be careful about, right? We're finishing up a record right now. I think I have 3 songs left to record on vocals, and that's even gonna be tricky because I've now upped myself to 3 days a week
Yeah.
for music. So it's like I'm walking this fine line of self-care, but also doing the right thing for my channel, doing the right thing for my band. And frankly, those are the only 2 things that matter because IRL, I retired from the wedding industry.
Yeah.
There will be no gigs.
Yeah.
So, thank goodness I am at a place with Twitch and Patreon now that I feel not terribly irresponsible about retiring from one of my income sources.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's my life. I am truly now at 32 fucking years old, finally working for myself and for Twitch and for Patreon in that way. So to answer your question, nothing changes. And that's a really incredible thing for me to realize is that if I continue to build and grow on Twitch and Patreon, literally nothing changes.
Now,
Very
another
crazy.
option is, I mean, you invested in a really good gaming laptop. Would there
Yeah.
be anything stopping you from doing IRL streams? Like actually streaming from the
Oh,
tour bus?
well, other than internet,
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's
that would be
hotspots
terrible.
things.
Yeah, but we all know that really have to have like a solid Ethernet connection, and it would be noisy. Have you been in an RV?
No.
It's very
I'm
noisy,
sorry, the
especially with
moment
the
you
kind of
said you all were on an RV, I'm just like, I can't poop on a bus.
no, you can't poop in it. No, you can't. That's hard. We do have a functioning bathroom. You can pee, but you can't poop. So that's hard. And what we do is, and this is like a pro touring tip, so you get a Planet Fitness membership and you can always take in one other person. So have half your band sign up for Planet Fitness. It's $20 a month. Then you can sleep in the parking lot with your RV legally or your van or whatever it is. And then you can go in the morning, take a poop and have a shower and you're good to go. Ding.
That is
We've been doing this for a couple years.
I'm trying to dodge the sun real quick as it's just like totally hitting me.
Daytime
I'm not
camera.
I'm not used to being like on camera this early in the day. Like if I just move right here, it's like but
Yeah.
um so what made you decide that music was going to be your thing? Not just on Twitch. I just mean in general. What was kind of
Oh.
your plan with that?
So in general, this goes back a long, 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 long time. Uh I have been singing for as long as my mother tells me I have been, which is since I was not cognitive enough to have memories. And I was in love with Broadway and Disney, and anything I could sing to, I was singing to. Old fucking McDonald had a farm. Like every single thing you can sing to, I was singing to. And this says a lot about me, but my favorite musical of all time is Cats. Still
Oh
is.
god.
I adore it. Not the movie. That movie was fucking weird.
I
But
didn't see the
the
movie.
real thing is very powerful and there's a lot of life lessons, believe it or not, in that musical. And it stuck with me for a long time and, you know, as you start to get older, you are in school probably and there are talent shows and things like that and I entered my first talent show when I was 7 in 1996 and that video's on YouTube by the way and
Ooh.
I never I never stopped. That was it. I was hooked on performing and I started songwriting when I was a teenager, probably around 16 and I was in marching band, symphonic band, jazz band. I've kind of done all the things. I was a drum major in marching band, director, just everything you can do, guitar, bass, flute, piccolo, a- anything. I dabbled in trombone and alto sax for a minute. And my whole plan was to be a band director. I applied to a bunch of uh, colleges and universities in Michigan here, and I got into a couple. Decided on Eastern Michigan, and I went there and I tried to get into the flute studio and didn't. So it kind of derailed everything I thought I knew. Uh, and it I'm kind of glad. It was kind of a blessing in disguise because up until that point, like there's that moment in your life where it's either going to be your career or it's not going to be.
Mhm.
And I was always like, there was this thing in the back of my mind that was like, if you do this, it's going to ruin it. and the
Mhm.
universe stopped me from doing it. That was it. My flute ability wasn't literally good enough for me to continue on in that career path at that time. I was going to have to wait a year. And I got a scholarship for Eastern Michigan and it was only for 4 years. So, I had a choice and that was wait a year, do some gen education and see if it works again. But now you have 5 more years because music education is a 5-year degree. So, I gave up all of my dreams of being a band director and moved on and I went into TV anchoring, radio hosting and audio engineering and journalism instead and that's what I ended up doing through college and I did continue in marching band. I played piccolo in marching band 3 of the 4 years I was there. But the last year I was at Eastern in 2011, I'm sorry, 2010, I got hired by a professional wedding corporate band in the Detroit area, and that's what my whole career path ended up being. I That's what I retired from officially at the end of I think it was in January. I don't remember. Within the last couple of months, I officially retired from those jobs that I was working for that company. So, in the midst of all that, believe it or not, I was working, I had a day job and I was in 3 bands, 3 corporate wedding bands, and as a vocalist, only a vocalist, and well, sometimes an MC, but that's a whole other thing. Um, but all during that time in 2014 and 15, I was forming Elsie Binx. So, like, I was severely burnt out from, like, every direction you can be burnt out from. My health was declining as well, and I didn't understand why, and it was a hot fucking mess of things, but that's I feel like that's what everybody's 20s are. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like everybody's trying to figure it out, uh, in their 20s, and that's kinda where I was, and so music has always been the forefront of my life, just period. Since I literally don't know a day of my life where I didn't think about singing or what I was gonna be performing next or, whether it was a job or something I was just doing for fun, my band. So that's my entire musical journey is my entire life. It spans literally all 32 years of my life. Um and my parents are pretty musical, so I think that's pretty relevant. They're not musicians per se, but my mom is a singer. She taught me how to harmonize whether she believes me or not. She taught me how to harmonize. She doesn't believe me. Uh, but they both like rock music. They're both fucking hippies and they loved rock music and classic rock. And then they both also love good music from the 80s, 90s stuff. So I was brought up in a good situation musically and it formed who I am. Like you see me go from fucking, I don't know, 9 Inch Nails to Disney in the same stream.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like I,
And
I kind of go in every direction when it comes to music and I think it's just because of how it all came to be. It was my whole life. Music has always consumed me, always. And so when I saw that Twitch was a thing, it was just the glaringly obvious direction. There is no other direction
I
for
mean,
me.
I just have to stop you for a
It's
second.
crazy.
It's
Yeah,
fascinating
no.
that you unintentionally probably have one of the strongest resumes for, like, if Twitch was actually a job,
Right.
what you should have: audio
Yeah,
engineering, experience in radio,
yeah,
journalism, broadcasting, mu yeah, obviously the music
yeah,
background. I mean, the amount of production parts that you have going, I mean, no
yeah.
wonder your stream looked so phenomenal so quickly. Like,
Thank you for
that's a
that.
lot to have. No, I mean,
It's
that's a ton of experience that, on the
yeah,
one hand, someone would go, "Well, I got this education and I didn't get this career in that field," right?
yeah,
But on the other hand, I feel like all that information, even on a small scale, has a huge impact in something where essentially most people on the platform, they're not even dabbling in any of that.
yeah,
Most people maybe have some experience, shooting stuff on their phone, like, or maybe have experience Googling. That's what I feel like most of us are. We all have, the Google University.
Yeah. It's yeah. I agree. I have said it. And I even have experience podcasting on accident. Like I was a host of a podcast for a couple years. It's just it's wild because you're absolutely right, and I've said that out loud before. Is that everything in my life prepared me to be on Twitch? It is literally where I meant to end up right now
Yeah.
in this time period. Like, and it's truly how I feel. And when people are coming into my chat and like they're seeing me for the first time and they're like, "Oh my god, I love this person. Who are you and where did you come from?" I'm like, I was never here and thank you and I've always meant to be here." Like that's literally how I feel about Twitch. Is I've been studying to do this my whole life and I had no idea.
Yeah. No, I mean, it totally
The
makes
more you
sense.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you were saying about your health. I know that you're right now, for the month of March, the entire month, you're doing essentially a one big like versus those of us that do like a charity stream. You're doing an entire month of not only a charity stream, but raising awareness on Twitch. I've seen posts on Twitter, Instagram, all for endometriosis awareness. What what that's a lot. That's a lot of commitment
Yep.
to to bringing awareness to endometriosis.
Yeah, it's something I've been doing since I was diagnosed in 2013. And that is why I mentioned my health was declining and I didn't understand why. Is when you're 21 or 22, and we've talked about this,
Mhm.
you kind of make some dumb decisions. You live your life. Uh, and we've all done it. I feel like most of us have done it. You do dumb shit, but you're invincible. You're 20, you're 21. And I went through the same phase. I feel like a lot of people do. And then I went to the ER 5 times in 1 year and nobody could tell me why I was in pain. That's really scary. um and this was in 2012. Yeah. So I would have been 23. And so it was really scary and I had heard the word endometriosis before because my aunt had been diagnosed a couple years prior, but she didn't say a whole lot about it. We just knew that she had a small cyst removed from her ovary and that she had been diagnosed, but like she didn't make a big deal out of it. And that's okay. To each their own, you know. She's a very private human and I knew that. But like she told us, which was kind of weird because she is so private. But I had heard the word because it came up in now our family history. And it the symptoms of the symptoms of endometriosis are so polarizing. They can be extremely minimal to debilitating, and you can't be put on disability because of it, because of the U.S. government. So it's a lot, and I ended up in the ER, like I said, about 5 times. As you can imagine, somebody who lives their life on stage and that's their main income on top of having a day job, this doesn't go too well. And luckily, I had really, really understanding people in my life, but they eventually found a massive cyst and it was inside my right ovary. They watched it for a year, said, let's try different hormonal treatments and we'll have ovaries, no, ultrasounds done every 2 or 3 months. Well, my doctor at the time didn't believe me. She's like, you're fine. It's going to go away. You're on the treatments. Like, you're young. It's fine. And because cysts can't, to be fair, cysts can happen
Yeah.
randomly,
And
right?
they can
Just
leave.
because, yeah, they can leave and they can also form for no reason. Like
Yeah.
just because you have a cyst doesn't mean you have PCOS, endo, or PCOD, or some of the more common hormonal diseases. Like it can just be a random thing that happens. So my doctor, I was telling her like, no, there's something wrong. Like, and for me, the symptoms were, and I've put it out there in my tweets already in the past couple days, is that some of the symptoms are stabbing, burning, extreme bloat, feeling like there's an alien bursting from your gut, and more. So it's like, this isn't normal. This is not. This is not something a 23-year-old or basically anybody should consider normal. But my doctor wouldn't listen to me, and she stopped ordering ultrasounds, and the cyst grew to be the size of a grapefruit. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so I went into
That's
not a what?
big.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to
No.
imagine a grapefruit and an ovary.
Yeah.
That's huge.
An ovary is about the size. What's a good ball?
It's g
It's smaller than a golf ball, but bigger than a grape. A normal ovary size.
ping pong? Oh,
Yeah, maybe a ping pong ball, maybe a little bit smaller. It's hard to, you know,
yeah.
but yeah, you get it. So small grapefruit
So,
to
very
average size
stretched,
grapefruit.
little
It's about the size of your fists if you put them together
oof.
inside my right ovary. So when we finally got another ultrasound, and it had been a couple months longer than normal, my doctor called me and was like, You need to schedule surgery as soon as you can. It wasn't going to the ER getting surgery, which it probably should have fucking been. Um, because I scheduled it, got prepped, it burst during surgery. But luckily, my surgeon saw the size of it and took the correct precautions. And there's a lot of things you can do for that situation. I was also told that some of my blood work came back as it looks like I might have pelvic lymph node cancer. And that was scary. Fucking 23-year-old cancer scare. Like, this is none of this is normal. Like, and so me telling my story is a way to spread awareness about the fact that if you're being told, I'm like literally about to cry right now. If you're being told by your doctors repeatedly that something is going wrong, you have the right to tell them they're wrong. Um, as stupid as it sounds, I shared a meme earlier this month that said, don't don't mistake, oh man, what was it? Don't mistake your 2-hour lecture for my 30 plus years of experience on this disease, because they said don't mistake a Google search for a doctor's advice.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. That hurt.
And it's like literally it doesn't even matter that I was 23 years old at the time. My doctors didn't believe me, and that could have fucking killed me. Can you imagine if I just hadn't continued going on in the ultrasounds? I knew something in my heart was wrong, and I was in so much pain that a 23-year-old shouldn't be in. And anybody, frankly, could be 80, you shouldn't be in that much pain. And I was trying to function because that's what society tells you have to do. And it was really painful. And that's why I spread awareness, because I don't want anybody to go through that. That's the whole reason. Is nobody should have to fucking be told they're wrong and be put down like that, and I could have died. I didn't have cancer, but what the fuck? What if I had? My doctor didn't want to run the tests. She didn't want to do ultrasounds because you're young. The birth control and the hormonal treatments are probably working. And this was, by the way, probably a Gen X female doctor. I'm not talking about an old white guy. I'm talking about a relatively young female doctor. It makes me sick to my stomach, to be completely honest. But that's why I spread awareness. That's why I tell my stories, because it's really important for people with these kind of symptoms of chronic illness to talk to their doctors. And then if their doctors are telling them they're wrong, they need to move on. Doctors are not the end all be all. That one doctor, I should say, one doctor isn't the end all be all of your life. It could literally cost you your life. And it literally almost cost me mine. Like, that's real, you know? Don't mind me, it's fine.
No,
I have makeup on. I won't keep crying.
no, I
I won't wreck the makeup. Don't
it's
worry.
funny how you learn how to, like, just open the eyeballs really wide when it's happening.
Yeah,
Like, you're
yeah.
like, "I got this."
Let me look right into the camera and cry. No, it
But
but that's it. That's the whole reason I spread awareness. That's why I'm okay with that commitment. You started and ended the question with, "That's a big fucking commitment," because I almost lost my life. That's why.
yeah, and I know that you and I have talked about this before because, I've told you a little bit about how I got sick and I was having crazy symptoms. I was 28. And I
Yeah.
mean, like, I was getting a chronic infection,
Yeah.
multiple chronic infections every month,
Yeah.
every single month. And I had to keep going back to the doctor and continue to get antibiotics for it. Like, it was crazy. I have a picture of where, like, I urinated just blood. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
And the journey that that took me on was 2 years,
Mhm.
18 different specialists. The
Jesus.
amount of times sometimes a doctor would get kind of excited, like, "Oh, I think I know what this is."
Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't for 2 years until someone and I worked at the animal shelter, and I told people constantly, like, "I worked with animals, maybe it's something zoonotic. I don't know. I'm not Spider-Man, but maybe this is the transition period." Like, I don't like anything. And the one I didn't think of, because I did work with fucking deer, like that was part of my job was placing wildlife that we got in, was Lyme disease. And
Yeah.
2 years in, a doctor ran some titers and says, "It looks like, yeah, you've had Lyme disease. So great, we figured it out. Bad thing is you usually wanna treat that within the first month."
Yeah.
And the other thing was
2 years.
I'd
Yeah.
apparently recently, around the same time, I contracted Epstein-Barr, which also weird science note, those 2 don't like to get along,
Mm.
very weird. But, and then when I had TLDR, bad things happened, had to be in the emergency room. I had a 4-hour-long guided lumbar puncture. It was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Um, th that's when they found out that it spread
Yeah.
to my central nervous system, and I'm partially blind, partially have hearing loss, part of my face I can't feel, and it affected almost everything in my body.
Yeah.
And what's scarier though is, as heartbreaking as it was to keep going to doctor after doctor with medical notes, I would take all the urologist paperwork to the endocrinologist, and each one would say, "Well, that's not my specialty." And I'm like, "Well, tell me who can look at all of this."
Yeah.
And as a woman, when you look at the symptoms that we deal with, it almost upsets me is, like, how many of them are even kinda similar to, like, being on your time of the month?
Yeah. Mhm.
And you're almost automatically dismissed.
Yeah. Mhm. You just have
Women's
really bad periods.
yeah. I was told, that when I had an Aurora migraine, that I had double vision,
Oh,
severe
wow.
vertical diplopia, and a Bell's palsy episode. I was
Oh my
told,
god.
"It's a migraine because I'm 30 now." And I was like I went to my neurologist who thankfully that was one of the few doctors that agreed with me, and he had sent me to the specialist when he said, he'd sent me to get like an MRI and they found demyelation.
Yeah.
Basically the sheathing of my nerves being uncovered. And she automatically dismissed it saying, "Oh, well that's normal. You're 30 now. Like that's normal." And he goes, "The ripe age of 30? Really?"
Right, the ripe age of 30?
Like, yeah, like when we do autopsies on like 80-year-olds, yeah, you'll see like maybe some demyelation. But look, you're 30. And I
Yeah,
just turned 32. So
yeah.
to hear you say that, it really hurts. It really sucks. There's no way of telling women more that you are your own advocate. You know your body best. If there's something wrong, find someone that looks into it.
Mhm.
Keep going to
And
doctors.
in my story, even again, I'm comparing, but only in the sense of like the amount of time it took to get relief, quote, was that my pain journey is relatively young and compared to other people I've met with endo who have had can't even count the amount of laparoscopic surgeries, my journey is rather easy for lack of a better term, even comparatively to your situation. And again, comparing pain is not what I'm trying to do,
Yeah, we
but at the same
compare a lot of things apparently.
yeah, we just like we're
We just
comparing
actually
different
we
things.
I gotta compare it.
Yeah, but I'm not comparing it to be like, "Oh, yours is so much worse than mine." Like, it's
No.
just a fact that I've had a couple of terrible years and then some better years, but that's not most people's experiences. It's not been your experience. it's not been a lot of endo patients' experiences. Like, I I have had it pretty easy, uh, and I recognize that because I've had 1 surgery. Most people with endo, by the time they're 32, have had at least 7. It's not even an exaggeration, and it's incredible that I've made it this far. I think that karma is gonna come for me at some point. As dumb as that sounds, but most people I know with endo are younger than me, and they've had triple the amount of surgeries as me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another part of why it's important that I have the energy to spread awareness, you know?
And it's and in
So
a
I
way,
try to use it.
your this was your experience, and the fact that you don't just I know that there are ways that I could probably speak out more about what I'm dealing with, but for fuck's sakes, man, it seems like everything in the world is wrong with me, so it's, like, really hard to summarize it.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's like, I swear to God, like, it's just like, I don't know where to begin, like, I'm broken. But what you're doing, though, it is important. It did affect you, and how
Yeah.
the medical profession handled it
Yeah.
was wrong. And at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it doesn't even matter if it's just endometriosis. What you're saying is you need to advocate for yourself. No
Yes.
one should be terrified. No one should be scared that it's in their like maybe it's in their own head. Like maybe
Yeah.
my symptoms are just maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I am perfectly like healthy and normal and the doctors don't see anything in my blood work. God, I hate blood work.
I know.
Blood work's always the worst. Like, "Oh, your
It
blood
really
work
is.
looks fine." I'm like, "Ah, got
Yeah. I pass out almost every time.
it." So, well, let me ask you this. What do you moving forward, based on the past year of experiences, where do you wanna see yourself in Twitch this time next year?
This time next year, what month? So it's March. I would say if I'm so I have let me rewind. Um I've always said this and I've said it on stream, I've said it off stream, probably said it in writing too, is that I have 2 goals as a creative human who doesn't want to fucking have to work for the man to pay my bills, right? Um and those goals are number 1, pay your bills with your music, and number 2, give back. As soon as you can pay all your bills and you are not stressing, not sleeping, not eating because of your bills, as soon as you can do all those things and support yourself, give back to the community. And that's why the charity stuff has been so prevalent the last couple months, is that
Yeah,
it felt like the correct next step for me. Every single March since 2013, I have done charity work for Endo, but that's been on Facebook. I've been able to get a couple $100 for Endo every single year, but it's literally just been on Facebook. There
yeah,
is no other avenue. So charity work seemed to be like the next level for me, joining charity stream teams, and that has literally taken my Twitch to the next level. And so those are the 2 things I want to accomplish. I would say I'm relatively staying on top of my bills, but also we still have like unemployment and PUA. So that's contributing a lot right now,
yeah,
as well. Like I'm just point blank with the situation we're in right now, that is helping me pay my bills right now. And once that goes away, that's going to be the real telltale sign. So would I say I have a goal by this day, by this time, I want to be partner?
no,
No, because partner doesn't mean I'm paying my bills and able to do charity work too.
yeah,
Frankly, there are partners who get partner and then really struggle to pay their bills.
yep,
Um, and anybody in the Twitch community knows that. So it's like, of course, it is a goal, but it's not the goal. My goal is to pay my bills with my creative outlets and also be able to do charity work without feeling like, oh shit, now I'm not going to make the amount of money I need to make today to pay my bills, but also be able to then donate back. Like, I want to donate to Pause Your Game and I want to donate to Endo myself. And then, Underworld did black trans advocacy a couple months ago. I want to donate to those things too. I don't just want to be the face of the person who helps get money for those.
Yeah.
for those things. I want to literally be able to donate. And so I'm almost there with the help of the government still, but in order to do it without the government, that's my goal. I would
Yeah.
say if that's going to be huge for me is to be able to pay the bills and also give to charity uh in the same breath from the same Twitch, Patreon, and Elsie Binx pools. That's where I want to see myself is comfortably without government assistance doing those things. If I'm a partner in the process, fuck yeah. I'm going to bring you fucking there with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's another part of being a partner. Now you have the ability to help other people grow.
Yeah.
So if I
It's
can do it, anybody can do it, you know? Like it's I'm going to bring your communities up with me kind of thing. That's another version of that. So that's where I see it going for sure.
and
For sure, for sure.
the last question that I want to ask, that I think, I don't know, I think I might try to ask everyone. Also, I'm just getting blinded to death. I'm like almost crawling out of the camera view just to avoid this fucking sun. Um, but anyway, so
Oh
yeah,
no.
the sun. Hey, I told you about my Streamer Nest sundial, right?
Yes.
It's telling me
Yes.
to wrap up the podcast because it's in my F and I. So the last question I want to ask is, if you could have a raid from anyone on Twitch, who would it be and why?
Oh. Oh, this is so difficult.
I feel like this was a good question because I feel like we all secretly kind of have something that we have in the back of our head where I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
100%. So I have an answer. I have an easy answer. It's just it's you'll understand when I say why I hesitate at this moment is because we have a mutual love of Jenna Marbles.
A
So
goddess.
you know where this is going is I would still very much adore if Julian fucking rated me for any reason. I'd probably fangirl out and sweat really hard and die. Um,
Tell Jenna I
but
love her.
back in the day, if Jenna and Julian,
Oh yeah.
oh my god,
Oh
I would
god.
just I
I didn't even think
fucking
of that.
worship that. Well, because they were the reason I had Twitch. They were the reason I had a Twitch account.
That's funny. Yeah.
So when I decided to go full blown, I followed like 3 accounts. They were one of them. And then I saw as, Jenna started to leave the eye of the public, he changed his name. Is not Jenna and Julian anymore. It
Nope.
is
They're not.
Julian.
She's not doing it anymore. Good
And
for
I'm
her
not
though.
Jenna and Julian. I know. Honestly, it takes so much strength to do what she does and to also disappear takes strength to do that too. And to make that decision. But
I was
if
just watching her
Julian rated
videos
me,
earlier.
who I would always just
I can't help
repeat.
it.
And so she's such a huge part of me growing up in a YouTuber society. But when YouTubers were like the thing to watch, I still watch YouTubers. So Julian, that would be like a pie in the sky for me, honestly. Even without Jenna, a part of the channel, I would say that he is
It's
just
like a
one of those people I would be
proxy
like,
generate.
right? Like I know that sounds so terrible because Jenna's like my real love, but honestly, I grew to love Julian too.
No, they were great.
He
They honestly, you
they're a
can.
great team.
They're a great team. They were.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And he's one of the biggest reasons their podcast that they started on Twitch was one of the biggest reasons I made a Twitch account.
Yeah.
So that's why I say like it's kind of a hard answer for me because the channel that I knew isn't the channel that is current. But that's still that said,
Yeah.
I'd say that's my answer.
Well, that's a pretty solid one. I'm almost jealous. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't think of that. Like if I could go back in time. Yeah.
Well, wait, what's your answer to that question?
What's my answer?
Yeah.
I don't know. This podcast is in beta. It's not about beta. No. Can't think of that off the top of my head.
You don't
My job's to come
you
up with
don't
the
expect
questions.
anybody to ask you the questions.
No, I was not expecting anyone to ask me questions. I don't know. I guess like summarize real quick. Probably. Oh shit. I don't know. Anyone? Player picks. I just
Honestly, though, that's a great answer.
I love her. Like,
Yeah.
she you and here's why real quick. She I love her for the fact that she has a music streaming Twitch channel. She does professional photography, has her own Instagram based around that. She does YouTube videos on all of her trips that are really good. And she has
Yeah.
a whole dedicated Instagram to that. I love that. Basically,
Mhm.
everything that she loves, she makes content out of, and they don't have to correlate.
Yeah.
And that to me is amazing. Like to
Yeah.
show that you don't have to just brand yourself to one genre or thing. Um and also just I can't help it. Her emotes are amazing and I sub to her every month.
I mean, that's a great reason too,
Yeah. So
honestly.
she's awesome. So I would
She
say
really
say her right now. But well thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you
And
for having me. I'm so happy that we had the time to do it too.
I know that went a little over, but you know what? I think it'll be a good listen.
Welcome to podcasting.
Yeah, welcome to podcasting where nothing is timed out at 30 minutes.
Yep.
All right, I will talk to everyone later.
Bye.
Bye.